What you're looking at is a picture, or more accurately, a screenshot from the 23rd episode of Lucky Star, around the 15-minute mark. And this was my laptop wallpaper during my freshman year university for an extended period of time, about 2 months during the times of October and November of the fall semester. And this is a rarity since I'm someone who is constantly changing their wallpaper. I don't like to see the same thing all the time, especially since I'm interfacing with my computer for dozens of hours per day. This is Sukasa, this is Kagamin, and this is Konata, and they were my friends when nobody else was. You see, when I got into university, I didn't have any friends. I didn't really make much of an effort to do so. In my mind, I had this idea that I didn't really need anyone else. And I still believe this to be true since a lot of people consider friends to be a one-size-fits-all solution to a slew of problems that someone might have, and prescribe it to be one of the necessary things that makes you human, I guess. But not really for me. In high school, I had a couple acquaintances, though it was mostly under the guise of us being on the same sporting team or being in the same class and having worked on a project. But I really didn't have anyone I was very close to, and I never had someone I can consider a best friend. I don't think anyone ever considered me to be their best friend. So when I went to university, I kind of figured in the back of my mind, and I prepared myself for the worst knowing that I likely wasn't going to have any friends, and I wasn't necessarily trying to seek friends anyways. I knew that there was a possibility that I would meet other like-minded people, and I was still open to that idea, but I wasn't actively seeking that. So I spent the majority of my freshman year, at least the very beginning in the fall semester, trying to sort out my ideas and figure out who I was. Because this was during the time when I realized that no one actually gives a damn about you. And as cynically as that might come off, it isn't nearly as bad as they might imply. What I'm talking about here is that no one actually gives too much thought to the things that you give a lot of thought to. Having a bad hair day, wearing a weird shirt, and what have you. Like if I were to walk around campus with a Lucky Star t-shirt and pajama pants, with my long ass hair, laying on the ground and being retarded, no one is probably going to tell me and go up to me and say, hey, you're an idiot, or hey, I hate you. They're probably going to talk about you behind their backs, which there's no guarantee that they aren't already doing that, regardless. So it was in this moment of empowerment that I realized that no one actually cares, so why should I? I watched Lucky Star around this time. It was a weekend when my roommate left. He went home for the weekend or whatever, and I was the only one in the dorm room. So I closed the blinds, and I watched Lucky Star all weekend in the dark, in my pajama pants, not leaving the room. I was pissing in bottles, I had food that I had stashed there for a while, and like I ordered a pizza or something. So I was holed up in my room, doing nothing but watching Lucky Star, and at the same time, I had the anime Suki thread, which recounts all the references in the show that I was looking back and forth between the show and the thread, trying to see how much I knew and how much I didn't. And it was a life-altering experience. And while that might sound very extreme, this was a time when I was probably the most impressionable I have been in a long time, or I had been, since I was trying to find a new direction for my life in a place where I wasn't very familiar with. So I started to be exactly who I wanted to be. I wanted to be like Konata, a shameless otaku who indulged in their hobbies and wore their otaku pride on their sleeve. Someone who wasn't afraid to live the way they wanted. Since it's probably one of the most accurate, at least the most accurate, I think, depictions of friendships and relationships in anime or manga. watching the show made me feel like I was actually there. I intimately knew these characters through those mundane events that they went through on a daily basis. Everything from eating a choco cornet in between classes and talking about how to eat certain foods, or those lazy summer days when they're talking into a fan making funny noises. That might seem boring, and it is boring, but a lot of people do that. All those events you see, and you see these characters partaking in these activities, and you're like, I remember doing that, or these are the kind of conversations I would have if I was there. It isn't about these grandiose events or whatever. It's slice of life in its most pure form. Completely undistilled slice of life, exactly what the name implies. A slice of their life. And because of this depiction, it made me feel like I was their friend and I was there. And it was during this time when I was friendless and a bit directionless, trying to flail around and figure out who I was, that I watched Lucky Star. It taught me a lot of things that might have been very obvious for another person, but it left a very lasting impact on me, both guiding my identity and helping me mentally. Because these three girls, Tsukasa, Kagamin, and Konata, were my friends when nobody else was.